Welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Teachers. With me today is a dear brother. He goes by Dr. David Kirk. Dr. David Kirk is a naturopathic physician and a spiritual seeker. And it's such an honor to have you on, brother. Welcome on.
Great to be here, Peter. Really wonderful to reconnect with you.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm super stoked. We got some really interesting topics today. We're going to touch on craniofacial release. We're going to talk about homeopathy. We're going to talk about autoimmune disease healing and mental health healing. So, as well as whatever else spirit wants to come through. So, yeah, I would love to hear how the spiritual journey started for you.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. Spiritually speaking, um, I was raised Catholic, Roman Catholic in the Christian church. And I was really lucky enough to have this really extraordinary pastor, Father Henry Kriegel. And to this day, I haven't met another priest that was quite as um, thought-provoking as him. Like his sermons were just extraordinary. He traveled frequently to the Holy Land and would visit Muslim villages and Christian villages and Jewish villages around the Holy Land, and just his experiences with that, and would dissect teachings, and it was just like really to this day still stays with me.
For sure.
And so I'm really grateful for that. That's kind of like the beginning, I guess, of my spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I think still remains with me is this idea of what happens after death.
Right.
I think that's like what a lot of spirituality kind of, that's almost why we're all seeking it, right? Is like, we want this answer. Is there something after death, right? That's kind of
For
like,
sure.
that's kind of like this thread. I feel like that kind of brings us to it, pulls us to it. And so there's all these kind of theories and stuff. And so what about this holy book called the Bible, that, people have looked at for thousands of years now? And what does it tell us? And the idea around the resurrection, this is again, I'm going to, honor Father Kriegel with this one. With the resurrection, after Jesus resurrected, there was something that was different about him. The disciples didn't actually recognize him when he came to them after the resurrection. They didn't recognize him at all. They're like, who is this guy that came among us? So what is it that changes after death? There's got to be something that shifts physically, right? Because they didn't even recognize him physically, who he was. He said, no, you got to stick your fingers in the wounds in my hands where the nails had pierced. And they did. Like, oh my God, it is you, right?
Wow.
And so what is it that changes? Is it like a luminous light, right?
Yeah.
That encompasses you? What's different? Is it your color? Like, I don't know. But I think, that really powerful kind of thought-provoking thing still stays with me to this day.
Was that one of the major teachings that you remember from him?
Yeah, that one in particular, because it's like, again, it's just, we all want to go back to what happens after death, and what is it, and what can we do to be better people, right? And ultimately, I mean, I gotta say though, that was like growing up, and as a kid, you're kind of like, oh God, I gotta go to church.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to church. Like, it's Sunday,
Right.
you know? But Father Kriegel, I mean, he shortened mass. Like most masses, most Catholic masses are an hour, slightly over an hour. His was literally like 25 minutes. He got rid of
Oh,
all, and he talked about why. He's like, we're going back to the basics here. We're going back to how mass was originally celebrated. We're getting rid of all this fluff. We never kneeled. We never kneeled in his mass ever. Got rid of all that. Got rid. It was
great.
like
Yeah, that part is so tough, for a lot of people.
really we got back to the basics. I mean, he was talking about why don't we have women as priests, just kind of thought-provoking kind of stuff from the beginning, that I thought was, yeah, let's just have a discussion around it kind of thing. I went to college in Philadelphia, about 8 hours away, and the mass wasn't the same, and actually moved away from Christianity and Catholicism.
Hmm.
I started exploring Buddhism. I was going to the Shambhala Center in downtown Philadelphia, doing
Okay.
some meditation.
Right on.
Kind of explored that for a little while.
Yeah, you'll have
Uh,
to you'll have to send me the coordinates for that because I'm going back to Philadelphia in a couple of days here.
I want to say it's on Sansom Street.
Okay.
If my memory serves me, I mean, we're going back to like 1999 here.
Right. Sure.
But
I bet it's still there.
yeah, oh, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Um, and
So what were your major takeaways from that?
um, meditation, I like the idea of meditation. I like the practice of it. I like just kind of like taking that time to kind of clear the thoughts, right?
Hmm.
And what I learned from Shambhala, there are all kinds of meditations. We practice walking meditation,
Hmm.
right? There are all kinds of different meditative practices that they kind of walked you through. And it was kind of like you can be in meditation like while you're on a busy street. Kind of
For
pull
sure.
yourself out of whatever anxiety provoking stress that you might be in at that moment.
Hmm.
Um, and did that for a few years. And still wasn't like really pulled to Christianity or Catholicism or anything like that. And it didn't really happen until gosh, it was right around COVID. Um, right around COVID during the lockdowns, my co-parent decided that she no longer wanted me in our son's life, and dragged me through the kangaroo court known as family court in San Diego.
Hmm.
And it was one of the most depressing times of my life. And I didn't know what to do. Because of what I learned is that family court is a place of mediocrity. There's nothing that makes any sense in that arena.
Hmm.
And I went into it. I went into it thinking, well, love and light has to prevail, right? That
Right.
was like my kind of like spiritual kind of like idea at that point in my life. Love and light has to prevail. Just truth. I'm just gonna be truthful.
Yeah.
I focus on. I think I even sent out like a group text message to everybody in my phone. Focus on love and light at 9 a.m. on whatever date it was, because love and light has to prevail, and it didn't. And it was like I was just I went from a 50-50 parent to a 20-80 parent.
Oh
And
gosh.
it struck me to the core. I was like, what? This doesn't even make this isn't fair. It's not fair to our son.
Yeah.
With these absolutely ridiculous fabrications and allegations that she was making.
Hmm.
Um, and and so I was at a loss for what to do. And I started praying again.
Hmm.
I had a really profound dream where I was just asking for answers. And what came to me in that dream was what my ancestors have done for generations is in moments like this they've prayed,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's give this a shot,
Right.
right?
Right.
What else do we got to lose? You know
Yeah.
what I
What do we
mean?
got to lose? Let's go for it.
Yeah, and I did find a lot of solace in it. I did. I found I started exploring different Christian churches around San Diego. I went to like some of the rock and roll kind of super churches. I was like, this is too weird. It like wasn't what was familiar to me. They had like a full rock band and like stadium lights, and they were like they had like a drop down screen where they're showing these kind of cheesy like flicks that they'd made, and I was like, I don't know.
There's all
Um,
these hybrids now of all kinds of experiences for different people, right?
yeah. Um, but so I just I went back to the Catholic Church, and I found a lot of peace in it. I found a lot of support in it, and then things really started to really work out well for me once
Mhm.
I kind of just surrendered to that. And I was like, okay, there's something to this, right?
Yeah.
And as I went deeper and deeper into the spirituality around Catholicism, that I was reading a book a couple months ago. It's called Breath by James Nestor,
Hmm.
and he talks about the ideal inhalation exhalation is 5.5 seconds.
Mm.
It's like the studies show that this is the ideal, right?
And
And he talks about,
would it be nostril breathing, or does he not specify that?
oh yeah, 100% nostril breathing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
100%. Um, and so 5.5 seconds, and then he goes into like, okay, meditation. Yeah, when we're doing meditative states, we find 5.5 seconds, and then he goes into Catholic prayers, and he's like, the Catholic prayers, when you're reciting them, when you're reciting the rosary, there are stops at 5.5 seconds
Oh, wow.
as you're saying these prayers. You kind of stop and you take a breath, and it actually puts you into a meditative state
Right.
that is identical to the other meditative states that are found in Buddhism. And so it's like, what? That kind of blew my mind, because I mean, this is kind of what I grew up Catholic, very Catholic grandmother, mother. We prayed the rosary during Lent. Here we were just putting our brains in a meditative state every Friday during Lent, kind of thing.
For
That's
sure.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I just went to this place in San Diego, in Valley Center, called the Essene Retreat Center. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Uh,
No, no, tell me about it.
it was really profound. This beautiful piece of land. This woman's been catering it for 3 generations, and uh, it was my first time going into that kind of space where there's an altar with Jesus, and
Yeah,
but it was she was saying that the songs and everything we were doing was a frequency to open the heart,
yes,
and it just clicked in. It made so much sense that, like, all these songs and all these ways that we pray and everything like that, it's just another form of meditation. It's another way of opening and aligning with that frequency.
yeah, I love that. Because like, isn't that Christ consciousness at its core is the heart center, right?
Mhm.
Love is him, like through and through.
Absolutely.
That's what he was, is just pure love. I mean, to be able to tap into that pure love. Um, you have you ever heard Yogananda's um talk about the Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes?
I don't think I've heard
Uh,
that one.
no, Yogananda's. Hey, I mean, Yogananda.
Yeah, yeah, Yogananda Paramahansa.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always say the second word wrong. And he talks about how up until that point, it was really that was mind blowing. Is this one teaching? It was kind of like the pinnacle of Jesus's teachings.
Hmm.
That the Sermon on the Mount was like, there was nothing like it ever in the history of mankind up until that point. It was just like totally mind blowing.
Can you can
What he
you
was
paraphrase can you paraphrase what he said in that?
Yogananda,
Yeah.
or just how groundbreaking that teaching really was. How it was really just like, it was so heart centered and so heart focused. I'm pretty sure you can even find it on Spotify. his speech on that. But the takeaway, the gist of it that I got was, that's Christ consciousness. It's just that love. It's love until that point, right? Love everything, love everybody, no matter what, right?
Yeah,
And what a powerful way to be. Yeah, open up the heart, right? Open up the heart through prayer, through song, forgiveness, right?
for sure.
Because what better way could we really even attempt to tap into? Um, and
Yeah,
so
I recently had this experience where I went into like a deep process with myself where I really wanted to open my heart more, and I I I I went into this deep trigger and released a lot, and the heart opened up, and then from there it was connected to my third eye, and then from there I was able to open the third eye again, which has happened in different times in my life, but it was definitely open again, and I started receiving visions like I haven't had in a long time. So it was there. I believe there's a connection between the heart and other parts of our chakra system and our nervous system that open up when we really tap into that.
I love that. I love that for you. Yeah, I think what can we glean from it? What can we take away from it? It's like these really powerful teachings. They can be so simple yet so profound, and everything is kind of connected through that one thread of this love, and so anyway, the what I have kind of like come to is this place in my life of having returned to the Catholic Church and just being really fascinated with the miracles that exist and continue to exist. I like I read about these and I'm like, God, this is mind blowing, right? Like um, when the Eucharist actually had started to bleed during one of the miracles, right? During the during the celebration of the Eucharist at Mass, and there was this priest that was actually kind of questioning the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, and his host literally started to bleed while he was doing the consecration, and he had to set it aside, and then the Vatican came in and took a look at it and took some samples and sent it away to some independent scientists. And they weren't told, what it was. And they said, "Oh yeah, there's blood. This is human blood, and it is AB, blood type AB,
Wow.
which is the rarest of all of the blood types.
Hmm.
It's the universal acceptor. Like if you were an AB, you could get blood from everybody else."
I see.
Which is like if you need a blood transfusion, which is kind of like isn't that what Jesus was, right? He accepted everybody.
Hmm.
He was the universal acceptor. Which all these kind of things. I'm like every time I go to mass, I'm watching during the consecration of the Eucharist. I'm like waiting for that drop of blood to come to the Eucharist. I feel like it's going to happen in my lifetime. Like I'm going to be there. Um,
Wow. Yeah, that'll be something, man. That'll totally be profound.
Um, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And then the one more I want to talk about is the Our Lady of Guadalupe. I've been felt really called to Mary, Jesus' mother, and I've been praying to her a lot lately. And the miracles around her, the Our Lady of Guadalupe. This was like 500 years ago. She came to a man out in the country, a village man, and like showed herself to her. And he like went and told the priest, and the priest was like, "What? Ask her for a sign that it's really her." And he like went, back. And a couple days later, she said, "Okay, here. close your cloak and then run back to the priest, and then don't open it until you see him. And when he opened it, all these roses fell out, and it was like these roses that it was out of season. It was like these roses that were from this area in Spain. They only grew in this one area of Spain where the priest lived. Like, and then on the inside of the cloak was an exact image of Mary. And interesting, like the detail on it. It was like the constellations on her robe were constellations that were exactly as they would be over that area of Mexico that night, that
Wow.
particular night in the 1500s.
You know what's
And
Yeah, that story was recently told to me by another friend. Uh,
was it?
yeah, just like a couple of weeks ago. That's so interesting. There's something there. I mean, it's it's fascinating and that he could open the cloak and then there would be all these fresh flowers from this specific area. That yeah, that's I mean, it's like in India they call them siddhis, like superpowers that certain people have, like Sai Baba, he could uh
Yeah.
create powder from his fingertips, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Um, and and then recently they looked at the eyeball of the image, and under a microscope, like he had to look really closely under a microscope of that eyeball. It was literally a reflection of the people that were in the room at the time that the cloak was opened. It was this man and the priest, and that was in the room. It was so minute, but it was literally like, if you were to like look at something, you'd have a reflection on your cornea. It was literally
Wow.
to that level of detail.
Jeez.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's fascinating.
yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So I think these kind of things have just kind of been supporting my return to Catholicism, and finding some peace in it. And you know I think that's it. I think
Yeah, that's
that's where I feel.
beautiful. That's
Yeah,
beautiful, man. I mean, uh there Jesus was a master,
no doubt.
and there were the it's just like for me it's been about recognizing that his teachings are his teachings, and the egoic aspects of the church are just that, and not all of them are like that. That like there are really good people and priests, and there's a lot of beauty and magic in that, and connecting to Jesus as a master and as a guru, as a teacher. I think he's definitely one of mine for sure.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Um, I
So
love that.
So I think this is a good time for us to transition into talking about your naturopathic journey. And
Yeah,
and I mean there's so much to talk about with that. I'm so eager to hear about it, and to like hear about the different you'd mentioned before the podcast about a schizophrenia patient and different autoimmune diseases that you've helped heal. So I'd love to hear some of that.
yeah. I feel really blessed to be able to do what I do and to be able to help the people that I help. And I found naturopathic medicine as a way not just to manage symptoms, right? Which is kind of what I think the failings of mainstream quote unquote Western medicine kind of fails in chronic conditions. It just says, let's just take this pill every day for the rest of your life, and let's not actually heal anything.
Yeah.
And part of the beauty of naturopathic medicine is its ability to use multiple modalities. I can write prescriptions if necessary, although most of my patients come to me wanting to get off of medications, pharmaceutical medications. And and really the power of homeopathic medicine and naturopathic medicine to um, induce healing changes in the body. The body is capable of healing itself. You fall down, You scrape your skin, your body can grow new skin. You break a bone, you can heal your bone. You can do the same thing with brain pathways. You can do the same thing with autoimmune conditions. There's just something that has gotten out of whack that we need to circle back on and restructure.
So
The
for the listeners that aren't familiar with homeopathy
Yeah,
and naturopathic medicine, can you share briefly like what the difference is between the two and what homeopathy is and how it works?
yeah, I think that's a great question. So naturopathic medicine kind of encompasses a lot of different modalities, right? We're taught supplements, herbs, teas, tinctures, herbal teas, herbal tinctures, hydrotherapy, injection therapy, things like PRP, prolotherapy, sports medicine, cryotherapy. We learn all of these kind of different modalities. Nutrition, such an important one. Supplementation,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, um, hormone therapy. There's so many different modalities that we learn. Homeopathic medicine is just one branch of those many different modalities. So it's a separate kind of branch on this big tree that called naturopathic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And homeopathic medicine, it's basically, I'm a classical homeopath, and I prescribe a single substance found in nature, either a plant, an animal, or a mineral, that takes into account the totality of the symptom picture, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So just one, you literally prescribe one substance, and I have patients, that'll come into me with a laundry list of health concerns, and they're taking a laundry list of supplements for these things, and I'll say, okay, we're going to start with this one remedy, just this one. Yep, it's you as a whole
Right.
person. And when it impacts physically, mentally, and emotionally on people, their minds are blown. And um, that's like really why I got hooked on it. It's a certain we're all taught it in medical school, although it takes a certain level of obsession to get good at it because it's so um, specific. Like if 10 people came in all complaining of the exact same thing, every single one of them would have a completely different homeopathic remedy.
For sure.
Um, and it really comes down to the law of similars. So the law of similars says, find a uh, substance that would produce in a healthy person similar symptoms to what the sick person is experiencing. So if we
Mm.
were to take um, so we'll say a mineral like arsenic, and we were to give somebody arsenic poison, what would those symptoms be before they died, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like? They'd actually get really anxious. They'd have trouble sleeping. Um, they would have some stomach upset. They would get the stomach upset would be such that it would be burning. It would be a burning pain. Like there's different types of pain, right? But in particular with arsenic poison, it becomes like a burning pain.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly enough, with arsenic poisoning, the burning pain feels better with heat. So people, it's been written about many times over. The people that are experiencing arsenic pain, they get pain. It's a burning where literally they'll take like a hot water bottle and they'll place it over that pain. It's kind of how would heat help with burning pain, but for some reason it does with arsenic. And so anyway,
That's so interesting because that's like almost like a against the Ayurveda, right? Like Ayurveda, where you would want to cool it off, right? Like it, you would think, right?
yeah. It's a very peculiar thing with arsenic poisoning. People that are experiencing it, they're like, yeah, I have this burning pain, but it's better with heat. I had a patient come in. He had migraines that he described as burning pain. He's like, yeah, it was burning migraines, um, and they feel better in a hot shower.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And that was very peculiar for him. So we're looking for whatever is most peculiar or unique for the individual.
Hmm.
Just what are you experiencing? Like what actually do you do in these moments to feel better? And it was very, oh wow, hot shower with a burning headache. That sounds like arsenicum is a homeopathic remedy made from arsenic. So I was like, let's take a dose of arsenicum. And look, he took arsenicum for a week, and the last I spoke to him, he hadn't had it was within a week. He had no migraines, and he hasn't had them at all. And these were daily occurrences. I mean, it's really profound how quickly it works.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
it's the kind of thing where you just take it for a set amount of time and then you stop it. You don't need to take it. It's not like managing. It's like you have completely healed your body of it. And that's kind of my goal. I want to always get people to the point where they no longer need me. They are completely healed. They no longer need to take anything. They have healed themselves, and
That's how
um,
medicine should be, man,
that's how it should
in
be.
the whole world. I mean,
Yeah,
in America, we've come to a place where it's like you need to, they want to make profit. They can't make profit if you're feeling great, you know?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I found with homeopathic medicine, I'm really good at shifting we'll call it the circuitry. I don't know how to put it simply. Like, right, you have this kind of circuitry that's firing. The what I needed to find though, sometimes there was this structural component, right?
Hmm.
This physical structural component in people's bodies that we still needed to fix. And that's what led me to craniofacial release.
Okay. Now we're
Um,
getting to the juicy stuff.
the juicy stuff. So it in essence, it's taking an endonasal bulb. So a balloon, a very thin balloon. And I actually have one here. I'm going to show you.
Yeah,
Uh,
for the viewers that are watching, uh, we're showing on YouTube here. We have like it looks like a little pump with the end of a like a finger, what would you call it? A finger glove
finger
cut
cot,
off.
finger cot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a finger cot. And then what you would do is you would actually insert this up the nose and then into the nasal concha. So you have three of them on each side. You want to do one at a time,
Hmm.
but you want to do all of them. You insert it in there and then you blow it up and then release it. So it's real quick. Um, and Imagine like a chiropractic adjustment of the vertebrae on your back, right? We're just kind of we're popping these vertebrae, I mean, back into place.
Right.
Imagine that, you have 22 separate bones in your skull.
Hmm.
Um, Imagine doing that with the sphenoid and the ethmoid bones, which run basically right behind your nose. Now, how do they get compacted? It could happen through concussion. Um, could happen through chronic sinus infections, right? You have all this inflammation here, they get pushed. Right, there's just a
Mm.
lot of inflammation here. They're getting pushed into it, or they kind of get locked into this area.
Hmm.
Um, so how do we get them back into the right area? It's a really simple procedure. I do it in office. It's a little uncomfortable. I mean, imagine having like a balloon go up into your nose and then um, having it blown up, but it's brief, right? The
Right.
discomfort is brief, and um, and the effects are almost immediate when you get a good release. You can really feel. I can hear the release when it happens,
Hmm.
and people walk out of there saying like I haven't been able to breathe like this in 20 years.
Wow.
Almost immediately. I mean, it's like bilaterally I can breathe. So full. I've never been able to breathe out of my left nostril like that. Now it feels like my nostrils are even. And There's even some work that is going into looking at its ability to improve oxygenation of your brain because it's opening up these congested areas
That makes so
to
much sense.
allow the cerebrospinal fluid and to flow better. You know, when
Yeah.
things get compacted, I was looking recently at an X-ray, a pre and a post treatment X-ray, and it was like there was like it was all impinged. The bones were all impacted on each other. Post, it was like wide open. It just looked symmetrical.
Wow.
Um, and like, well, yeah, that would allow better flow. I mean, symmetry is what we want to see in the human body. We want things to be even so that the flow can happen better. We don't want it to be shifted over to one side, right? Um, and so that's kind of the benefit that I see in it. That's why I got drawn, why I got pulled to begin practicing it, was to address that kind of structural component of neuropsychiatric conditions.
For sure, for sure. And so, but it sounds like it improves oxygenation to the brain potentially. It's gonna allow people to breathe easier and maybe better than they have in many, many years. And just from that alone, I mean, there's so many benefits that can unfold, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. There's I have yet to meet somebody who hasn't benefited from the treatment. Um, no matter what it is that they're concerned with.
Hmm.
I have seen everybody that I have treated is like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so simple. For me personally, the third time I did it 3 days in a row, though, the first time I ever did it. And for me, my peripheral vision actually increased by 28% on the third treatment immediately following. So it was like,
Whoa.
uh, immediate, checking to see where you can actually start to begin to see things
Hmm.
peripherally. It was
Hmm.
28%.
That's
With
huge.
what yeah. I mean, that's significant, right?
Yeah.
And one of my ears was lower. I think it was my right ear was lower. That corrected. My left ear, the symmetry of my face corrected. My left nasal passage improved. It was like so many things just so quickly
Wow.
um, that yeah. I mean, for me, I have really poor eyesight. I've worn glasses for, gosh, since I was 8 years old.
Mm.
And so any amount of vision improvement, I was like, stoked on.
For
Two
sure.
thumbs up about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I, yeah. I even had a patient go from 2020 to 2015 immediately following. So like better than 2020. He was able to read things further away
Wow.
immediately following treatment after his first one.
I thought
So
2020 was the best. So 2015 is better than 2020?
for this particular guy, he preferred it.
Okay.
And he'd been doing a bunch of training to get there.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, 2020 is kind of like standard.
Hmm.
Um, for him, it's like he wanted to be able to read further away, and he was this biohacker guy.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay. So I'd love to hear about the different mental health healings that have happened. The schizophrenic one is in particular super interesting to me because I feel like in other cultures, schizophrenic people are like the medicine men and women of the culture of the tribe, and they're trained under the shaman and they have these abilities to go into these other realms and other dimensions to, talk to spirits and to interact with these beings that most of society isn't able to interact with. So, uh, what's your take on that? Like, do you think that like schizophrenia could be like a entity attachment, or what from like from a more like woo woo place? What do you think is going on there?
Yeah, I love that. You started off with that they would be considered the medicine healers. That was the first time I ever heard that was in a book called Plant Intelligence in the Imaginal Realm. And I read that book, and it was written by this herbalist and psychotherapist. And he talked about that, how these are people with just wide open sensory gated channels. We all have these sensory gated channels. It's kind of like, okay, imagine like going into a really loud room with hundreds and hundreds of people and everybody's talking. Um, your ears will sort of close off and not listen to them. It'll focus on the person that you want to talk to. You won't
Hmm.
hear every single person speaking. You're able to like filter that out.
Hmm.
And people with schizophrenia, they would hear every single person. They're not able
Right.
to do these filters. You have these wide open sensory gated channels. And there's this idea that there are these other realms that exist, right, simultaneously with where we're at right now, where there are other entities that exist, and we can all tap into them
Hmm.
under certain instances, right? Whether it be um, through plant medicine or meditation, whatever it is, tapping into these kind of other realms.
For
Um,
sure.
and people with schizophrenia are there already. They're there all the time.
Hmm.
And it doesn't become the disease state schizophrenia until they get confused by it, because they're told that what they're seeing or what they're experiencing or what they're hearing isn't real.
Right.
And that's the confusion that creates the quote unquote disease state of what it is. And it, the theory is, if these people were taken and put into um, thousands of years ago, they'd be considered the healers, and they'd be just able to tap into this, and there would be no confusion, there would be no disease state. They'd just be able to tap into it whenever they need to figure out what they needed to figure out for the village, for the tribe, for the people, whatever in that
Hmm.
moment. Um, and so approaching it like that, when you're helping people, listen, I'm not going to tell you that what you're seeing is wrong. I'm just going to help you decide what is here and what's there,
Right.
because that's where the kind of the disconnect is. I don't, I'm not going to tell you that you're crazy, that you're not seeing these things. They may be very. Who am I to say they're not real?
Right.
But I just want you to help be able to ascertain what is of this reality and what's of that reality.
Right.
So that you can kind of come back to this one when you need to. And so approaching it from that can be really profound for, so when you say that to people, a lot of times they're like, no doctor's ever told me that. Or everyone's, I've heard people have started crying. It's so wonderful to hear that. Thank you. And so going from there, there's a lot of ways to heal the body around that. Stephen Herod Buhner, the guy who wrote Plant Intelligence in the Imaginal Realm, what he did to heal schizophrenia was psychotherapy. And I believe he said it took him about 10 years. And it's kind of breaking down each of the selves, the inner child, the teenager child, kind of going through each of those. I believe we have like 7 of them, right?
Hmm.
Going through each of those to try to like figure out where the disconnect is. And he had countless patients that he was able to help with healing from schizophrenia. I don't do therapy with my patients. I do prescription based, homeopathic and naturopathic based prescriptions. And with the homeopathic, it's taking into account that physically and mentally and emotionally what they're experiencing specifically. So, what are the things that you're seeing? What are the things that you're hearing? Are you seeing anything? What is it that you see? Is it devils? Is it angels? Is it
Mm-hmm.
monsters? Is it aliens? Or is it just colors? Right, getting into that specific. What colors are they? Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe you're not seeing anything. Maybe you're hearing things. Are the voices near? Are they far? What do they sound like? Are they happy? Are they sad? How does it make you feel? What does it feel like in your body? Oh, do you get cold? Do you get hot during these moments, kind of thing? And it can be very unique between different people, right? If 10 people came in, they would all have their own unique experience of it. And then based off of that, we can figure out homeopathically what prescription to give them and then induce that healing. Homeopathic medicine is a lot about, you know, it's sort of pushing the body into that area where it's already existing to alert the body to heal itself. So the
Right.
homeopathic medicine isn't doing any of the healing. It's kind of lighting up this. It's waving a red flag. Hey, over here, over here. This is what's going on. So the body goes, oh, this is happening over here.
Right.
We need to heal this. For whatever reason, the body can heal itself. Sometimes it just needs that little subtle, this kind of like subtle flag to be waved for the body. Oh yeah, yeah, let's heal this. And so
Right.
you do that over time, the body can heal itself. And um,
And you so
yeah, I
you
mean, I
so you found results, like you found that people have actually healed completely of schizophrenia.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I um, I have to honor patient doctor confidentiality. What I can share is what has been shared on, given me permission to share with, by my patients, and some of them have written public reviews, that are available publicly on
Hmm.
my website, and and multiple people with hallucinations, with schizophrenia, with bipolar one, bipolar two, with manic episodes, delusions, completely healed to the point where they no longer need to take anything.
Wow.
Um, it's their brains are good,
Wow.
and I love that. That's really what I work towards with my patients is getting them. I don't want to manage them. I want to get them to full cures. And so that's kind of like the level of commitment that I want to offer, and also hope that it's reciprocated from them, right? Kind of thing.
For sure.
This is a relationship that we're forming. Let's begin on this journey together. I'm all in. Let's be all in together, kind of
So,
thing.
so
Yeah.
do you find that for a lot of people with these different uh diagnoses, do they have some sort of traumatic event that sparks it?
That's a great question, Peter. Trauma is sort of the one underlying component to nearly every patient that I see. Everybody has some level of trauma. Very rarely do I see a purely chemical disease, where it's 100% chemical with absolutely no trauma. I feel like it might exist if somebody was like working in a Kodak factory, developing film using chemicals and heavy metals. That might be a purely chemical disease, but trauma for sure plays such an important role, in manifestations of these health conditions.
Hmm.
Whether it's the stress, right, from the trauma, either overtly or subtly, creating the inflammation. You give it Inflammation is kind of this overarching box where it's like when there's inflammation, it's going to throw the body off. Um, and so where's that inflammation come from? Um, how did this get here? How did it get off? How do we fix it?
Right.
Yeah, stress is a huge component. And what is that stress? And how does that man? What was it? When did it start? The health history is so important. When did this all start? What was going on in your life at the same time? Um, what was it? A physical stress? Oh, it was immediately after my concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it a mental stress? Oh, it was immediately after the loss of my sibling.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stayed with me for um, what to this day, and I still think about it, and I haven't been able to fully process it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes total sense. And it seems like from what I'm understanding is that the homeopathy can also help to heal some of those aspects as well that the person starts to be able to address and look at as well. That's probably a benefit of this whole process, right? The inner work.
Yeah. I find that that's really the power of it, as opposed to prescribing for the condition. And we've all been sort of conditioned to, I use the word conditioned twice in that sense. We've all been conditioned to kind of say, oh, you have X, take Y. You have sore throat, take an antibiotic. Everybody with strep throat needs to take an antibiotic.
Mhm.
Oh, you have anxiety, take Lexapro. What do I take for this condition? And this is the way that everybody kind of just expects. We've all kind of been well, what can I take for my anxiety? What can I take for, and it's not that simple. And that's the homeopathy is for the individual, taking into account those individual symptoms. What is the individual? If 10 people came in with schizophrenia, if 10 people came in with bipolar, if 10 people came in, every single one of them would have a completely different prescription because it's for the individual. And that individual, it's not just mentally what they're experiencing, but emotionally and physically as well.
All right. So we were just talking about how one of Dr. David Kirk's patients had a full recovery and healing from schizophrenia. And there was a few other really miraculous healings that happened, right? There was you before the call you mentioned herpes virus healing completely in someone.
Yep. Yeah, I think the point I think that overarches all of these is that the human body's ability to heal is infinite. And just because you're quote unquote given this lifelong diagnosis doesn't mean that it is lifelong.
Mhm.
I think that Western medicine might call it lifelong because it fails to understand how to induce healing in the body. But in reality, it's just their own lack of information and own lack of understanding and ability to engage into true healing. Yeah, I mean, just based off of the law of similars and the way that homeopathy works. As long as we still have all parts of our body, right? So, like, for example, type 1 diabetes, it's an autoimmune condition where your body attacks the pancreas and it eventually kills off this part of the pancreas. Once that kill off process is complete, um, then we can't reverse it. If we can catch it early enough, multiple sclerosis,
Mhm.
Parkinson's disease, if we can catch it early enough before the substantia nigra is completely decimated, completely wiped out, then we can tone down the immune's response to it. And so looking at, you know, the realm of homeopathic medicine, trying to find that one remedy, the one single substance found in nature that covers you as a whole person. I'll ask about all these other things that are going on in your body. If you ever had the flu, bronchi, break it down by each bodily system. And an important one is cold sores, herpetic eruptions, right? Herpetic skin eruptions caused by the herpes virus, simplex 1 and simplex 2. And a lot of times people just kind of accept the fact that they will now have this forever. I've had patients tell me, yeah, now I have to take antivirals daily. And that's just the way it is. If I don't, I'll immediately have an outbreak. And I have patients that have gotten off of antivirals completely, are no longer needing to take the prescription antivirals, are no longer needing to take the homeopathic remedy. And then we've actually, and still not having outbreaks. And then we've run the titers and found that antibodies at 0.
Wow.
And I love seeing that because it confirms what we already knew,
Yeah.
that it's possible. And similar things with the autoimmune, looking at the antibodies, thyroid autoimmune, antibodies that are massively elevated. Western medicine's answer is kind of like, well, just let your body eventually kill its thyroid off, and then we'll just give you thyroid medicine every day for the rest of your life. But catching it early enough, I've brought those down to 0 as well. So, it's totally possible. And I hope that people, I think people are kind of awakening and realizing that, kind of like the limitations on Western medicine and mainstream medicine, and just the ability of the human body to heal. There's a lot of ways to get from point A to point B, and it's finding that way that resonates with you.
For sure.
Finding that kind of practitioner, that healing modality, or whatever it is that resonated with you. I mean, I could talk a little bit about my own healing journey. I don't know if that sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I'd
About
love to hear about your
why I
healing journey.
discovered naturopathic medicine to begin with.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. So as a kid, I always wanted to be a doctor. I don't know, it was something in me. It was like, I always want to be a doctor. When I graduated from high school, I went to study pre-med at the University of Pennsylvania. They had the best medical school in the country when I was graduating high school in 1998. And, all the top tier medical schools, mainstream medical schools, they all kind of trade places who's number one, depending on who built the most advanced modern facility this year. And it happened to be
Right.
Penn.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there for pre-med. Then I'm going to go there for medical school. And I went there for 4 years. And I was burnt out, man. I mean, I graduated with honors, did all the pre-med courses, but I was just, I worked part-time during the school year. I did research at the hospital there.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked full-time during the summers, for all 4 years. And when I was done, I was like, yeah, God, like, I don't want to just be a pill pusher.
Right.
I kind of got disillusioned. I mean, I did. I definitely got disillusioned with just the way that mainstream medicine is practiced. And even like my work at the hospital, talking with other doctors, like, you see any interesting cases lately? And no, no, I don't. I just the attitude was kind of like glum. Like, I just do my work, and there wasn't any excitement, and it didn't feel inspiring.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And so I took some time off. I took some time off to kind of like go and figure out, is this actually something I want to do? And then years later, I was introduced to naturopathic medicine. Now, we should actually backtrack to my own healing journey and what health issues that I had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I grew up in northwestern Pennsylvania. It's called the Rust Belt, right on Lake Erie, a very economically depressed area, with a lot of rain. They call it the lake effect rain. Lake effect snow comes right off the Great Lakes and just dumps on the everywhere. Where I grew up, I'm living in San Diego now. I believe we have like around 311 days of sun per year out of 365. It was the exact opposite. We actually had 311 days of overcast skies a year. So there was a
Wow.
lot of moisture. Yeah, it was like the
Sounds like
complete.
Seattle.
Yeah. It was overcast. They called it dreary Erie,
Right.
otherwise known as the mistake on the lake. But yeah, so all that moisture, all that rain, we had a damp basement.
Mm.
And you would walk down there and you would smell it.
Black mold?
Musty. To this day, I can tell you if a place has white mold or it has black mold. I can tell you my barometer, my spidey senses, they light up. I get physical symptoms immediately.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, when I developed a sinus infection. We moved into this place when I was 7 or 8 years old. And I developed a sinus infection. I didn't realize that's what it was. But it was constant. And I ended up having it for 30 years.
Wow.
It wasn't, it was, I thought it was just normal to kind of wake up in the morning, and have like a bunch of nasal discharge and, blow it out in the shower. And, I thought that everybody did that. And, not able to breathe out of my nose, and especially, cold and flu season. If I got sick, it would go right into my face, right into my sinuses, and get really bad. And it would kind of, that acute exacerbation would minimize, but I still had it. I didn't realize that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I would go to the doctor, and the doctor would, write me a prescription for antibiotics. Didn't really help. And so I'd kind of go on Dr. Google and like, oh, what can I do naturally? And, neti pot. And, I'd try that, and it kind of worked a little bit better than the antibiotics. And so I had this own like kind of healing desire to heal myself, because it felt like the doctors that I was going to they weren't helping me.
Right.
And the sinus became so bad that it actually started impacting my ability to see. And your optic chiasm, it goes right behind your sinuses. And
Which is
I
the
was
nerve,
actually,
right?
yeah, it was starting to impact that nerve right there. And that's a really scary thing. I mean, we all need to see, right? And it was homeopathic medicine and naturopathic medicine in particular that really helped me to overcome that. And when that happened, I was like, this is something that I want to share with everybody. I mean, it's like, it's profound, right? I mean, 30 years, even after I moved out of the house, I still had it. It was just basically mold growing inside my sinuses and my middle ear. So to this day, if I'm around white mold contaminated house, I'll get a sinus infection. And if I'm around black mold, I will wake up in the middle of the night. If I'm in a hotel room with black mold contamination, I will wake up in the middle of the night, the very first night, with vertigo. Just the
Whoa.
room spinning very, very intense. And so I know I got to get out of there, and I have to leave. I'll leave them. I've left places in the middle of the night. I can't stay there.
Mm-hmm.
It's too, I mean, vertigo is terrible. Anybody that's experienced it, it's like the whole room is spinning. And I guess I feel grateful that I have that ability. So I'm like, I don't want to be around that, because I know of all the other impacts that it will have over time, if you stay living in it. And so I guess that's one of the benefits of it. I always try to look at the silver lining on something.
For
Right?
sure.
What is this teaching me?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's when I found naturopathic medical school. And I was like, oh, this is in alignment with my thinking. I want to be able to heal myself. And what are these different modalities that we're learning? And I originally thought I was going to go into school for skincare. That's
Okay.
like kind of the big thing. There's a lot of money in. Have you ever heard of vampire facials?
No.
It's basically biohacking your body to produce collagen in your body instead of doing collagen injections. What you do is you spin somebody's blood. You take some vials of blood, you spin it down in a centrifuge, you separate out the blood layers, and you get the it's called the buffy coat. It's this milky yellow kind of layer that you pull out of these different vials. And now you have one syringe of that, and you inject that with a mild irritant, some Novocaine, so it doesn't burn, so it numbs the area, and it biohacks the body into producing collagen. There's a lot of money in it. A lot of my colleagues do it, but it just wasn't my like passion.
Mm-hmm.
to go into. It was like, yeah, okay, there's good money in that, but I didn't want to just follow where the money was. And when I thought, you know what, I can make a living doing what I love, which is helping people with chronic illness.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that's
Uh,
amazing. So, what school did you go to and in which state?
so John Bastyr was a very famous doctor, and Bastyr Medical College became Bastyr University out of Seattle.
Mm.
I applied in Seattle. I got in Seattle, and thought I was going to go up there, and then all of a sudden they announced that they were going to be doing this integrative clinic with UCSD down here in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh, I love California. I was living in the Bay Area at the time, and I said, I love California.
Yeah.
And so I was part of the very first class that moved down here.
Nice.
Um, and they were literally still building the school my first year. Like I remember taking exams, and there's like construction equipment going on. I remember being in the cadaver lab, and they hadn't set up the ventilation system yet.
Oh
And
God.
so it was just formaldehyde.
Yeah.
And people were like passing out and like
Oh,
having to leave and stuff from the formaldehyde. It was gnarly, but learned a lot and
I can
really enjoyed
imagine
it.
how gnarly that is. With the ventilation, it's bad enough. When I was in Rutgers, I had a cadaver lab and it was so gnarly, the smell.
Oh yeah, yeah. You went to Rutgers?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I have some friends that went there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the cadaver lab was definitely
it's
next level.
intense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not something you want to be hanging out in. I mean, I would leave that and I would like the smell would like stick to me
Oh yeah.
and you just want to like sweat it out. Like I'd shower and it'd still be there. It's like I got to get this out. And we'd even wear respirators and full suits and everything. It permeates, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's a 4-year program, 3-year program?
4 years. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
4 year program. So four
Okay.
years of undergrad and then 4 years of medical school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a 1 year residency, and most of my training was actually done up in Montreal under Dr. Andre Sain, who's my mentor.
Oh, cool.
Um, and he's the one that did most of my training around homeopathic medicine. He's the one that trained me in craniofacial release.
Mm-hmm.
He learned it back in 1982.
Mm-hmm.
When he was in college in naturopathic medical school, and has been practicing it ever since. And in my opinion, he's the guy to learn from. And so I feel really blessed to have him as my mentor to help guide me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. And then how many years have you been practicing now?
Um, 2016. So what are we in year 9?
Okay.
Um, But I guess you could say I was practicing even longer than that because, um, as a student clinician, we got to practice from the very first year because we were part of the very first class.
Mm.
We weren't supposed to actually be practicing until our third year. So I guess you could add on another 4 years to that.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so we'll say 13 years, but 9 years in private practice.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. So, uh, then you kind of started specializing in mental health, or has
Yeah,
that been more
originally
recent?
that was my I felt that call while I was a student clinician. I
Mhm.
remember I was in this homeopathic shift because we in the student clinic you learn we have this IV clinic, we got the chiropractic manipulations clinic, we got the teas and tinctures clinic. We have these different clinics, right?
Mhm.
And I was on this one homeopathic shift, and I'll never forget this patient. She came in and she described she was coming in for anxiety. And she described anxiety as 11 out of 10. Like, so intense. It was worse than 10 out of 10. It was 11 out of 10. How long have you been dealing? 50 years she'd been dealing with it.
Golly.
And had been on every SSRI, every SNRI, every benzodiazepine, mood stabilizers, you name it, she tried it all. The best cocktails she'd ever had had lowered her experience down to 7 out of 10. And that lasted, she said, for a few years, and it slowly started creeping back. So I just followed the it's a very simple protocol. What is most peculiar? What's most specific? How do you feel it in your body? What makes it better? What makes it worse? What else is going on in the body at the same time? Trying to find these pieces that would set her anxiety apart from somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Like what makes your anxiety different if 9 other people were in this room right now? What is specific to you? And then what else is going on in the body? And I just followed it. And prescribed her a remedy. And I remember she came back, I would say it's about a month later. And I said, what's your anxiety now? And she said 2 out of 10. And I was like floored because
Wow.
that was the best that it had been, since she had it. And I couldn't believe it. I literally thought I was on candid camera. I was like, this can't even be real. Like I thought, like, how could this be possible?
Yeah.
And so I went back in to my supervising physician. I was like, okay, joke's on me. I get it. You guys played this joke on me. And then it's 2 out of 10. She's like, good job. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, no, you nailed it. You got the prescription right. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it because, the realm of mental health, it's such a sad, it's like people can't be their optimal version of themselves when they're dealing with panic or anxiety or depression. And it's pervasive. I mean, how many people who hasn't experienced anxiety at one point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how many people just linger with it and just they end up having to become hooked on an SSRI that kind of mitigates their symptoms a little bit, but doesn't actually get rid of them. And so just that kind of experience was like, this is what I need to do. I need to share this with people. I mean, it was miraculous.
Wow.
And so that's when I started to like really delve deep into this version of medicine, and how it works and how it's prescribed. Because homeopathic medicine, it's dilute. It's very, very dilute natural substances. So it's different than teas and tinctures, right? Teas, you take chopped up herbs, you put them in a little tea bag, you soak them in water, the extract comes out, right? Homeopathic medicine, where you take that same substance and you dilute it, you put it in alcohol, and then you succuss the substance and you dilute it, and then you take 1 drop of that out and you put that in 100 drops and you dilute it, and you take 1 drop of that out, and you do that sometimes as many as 1,000,000 times, to where you dilute it to where how much of the actual natural substance is even left.
Right.
And if you were to take that natural substance and look at it, none. Nothing's actually left. So I always thought it was, when I first had read about that, I was like, oh, this is all placebo.
Right.
There's nothing here. It's dilute to the point of nothingness. But it was a Nobel Prize laureate in physics, whose life was saved by homeopathic medicine, who started to study it. And he came up with a theory around it. I don't know, I can really nerd out on nanophysics and particle physics with this, but essentially what we're looking at is when something is diluted enough, we're getting down to the crossover between mass and energy.
Mm-hmm.
And when something's small enough, like if we were to look at particle physics, if we were to take an atom and get it small enough, the line between mass and energy becomes really blurred.
Mm-hmm.
Is it mass? Is it energy? It's a little bit of both, depending on how it behaves and how you look at it at any given point in time. And so in essence, it's energy healing. You're taking an energy of this substance, and our bodies can respond to energies.
Mm-hmm.
We do all the time, right? And so the way that we understand is these natural substances are impacting their energies in a certain way on that when you take them, it's adjusting your own frequency in order to induce this healing change in your body. Sounds a little woo-woo.
But it's like the essence or the spirit of the medicine, right? Like
Exactly.
stays in it. And
Yes.
yeah, and that's really interesting because as you were talking about anxiety, I was thinking about how with Reiki, I actually healed my anxiety. It was like I after I got attuned to Reiki, I was like, I can heal myself and give myself
Yeah.
like creator spirit energy anytime, anywhere, and I have full control and full reign over it. And it was like, yep. And so after that, I was like, it's all inside me. It was like that first moment of like, I have it all inside me. I don't need anything external. I can just use my own energy and the chi and the prana from the universe to heal that. And the anxiety went completely away after that. I mean, there are small bouts where I'll feel it. And nowadays what I'll do is I'll sit with a medicine called Hape, which is like a tobacco snuff. For those that don't know, and it's from the Amazon, and it's different herbs mixed with tobacco that you blow into your nose, and it just immediately grounds me and gets me to start moving the energy and to start purging it out. And I've talked about this in other episodes, but as you know, it's like purging can be sweating, it can be crying, it can be burping, it can be farting, it can be shaking, it can be actually like throwing up, it can be throwing up, but just energy. So it's really interesting because we people take care of themselves with the shower, with their physical hygiene, right? But very few people think about their energetic hygiene, and it's homeopathy is that. It's it sounds like it's maintaining and managing your energy and bringing it back into homeostasis where the body knows what to do to heal itself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Bringing that energy back into alignment, to in order that we can achieve the lofty goal of human existence so that we're not burdened by our limitations, caused by whatever it might be, so that we can move beyond that and excel and live optimally and do what we need to be able to achieve it. Yeah, I mean, I love that story that you just said, about finding, uh, through Reiki, and I have a relative that practices Reiki, finding through Reiki the ability to kind of uplift that spirit, right? To kind of pull it in, uplift the energy, and move past something, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I had a question for you, and
Yeah,
I'm just really curious. So homeopathy, the way that I've traditionally taken it, comes in little vials with little white balls inside of it,
yep.
and there's all different kinds, and there's all different doses, right? And so when I've taken it, my naturopath would diagnose me like 5 homeopathy pills, right, to put under the tongue every few hours, and then wean down from there. And so if it's an essence of something, like let's say a bee sting, right? Like
Yeah,
somebody trying to work on an allergy of a
yeah.
bee, they'll take that bee sting medicine and they'll dilute it down so much, like you were saying. Let's say it's diluted down 1,000 times, right? So then what is the rest of it? Like what's the white part that's
Oh, it's a the pills that I use are an organic sucrose.
okay, like a type of sugar?
Yeah, it's an organic sucrose, so it'll typically taste sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the medicine is typically on the outside of the pills.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and so, like I make them up fresh for my patients. And so I get these organic sucrose pills that are blank, and then add the liquid medicine to the outside of it and succuss it to the point where they're all over covered. And honestly, as long as you have one pill with that medicine, all you need is one. Like the exact number of pills that you take doesn't truly matter. You're inducing that change with just one pill.
Wow.
It's such a small amount of medicine. The difference between 1 and 5 isn't that big of a deal. If you
Okay.
take one, the bottle will last longer. If you take 5, you'll just go through it quicker. It's
Okay.
more about the frequency with which you take it. So if you were to take
Mm.
one pill, wait an hour, take one pill, wait an hour, take and do that over the course of the day, that would be it'd actually be too much for a lot of people. It would induce something that would be too much for the body to handle. So you want to take it as little as possible
Hmm.
to induce the healing that you need in your body. For me, it's once every 3 days. If when I need to take a medicine, once every 3 days is enough. I tend to respond for about 3 days, and then I need to respond again. When my son brings home, I have a 9-year-old. When he brings home a virus from school in the wintertime, I need to treat myself acutely. It's once every 3 days for me until it's gone.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So that's even when you have a fever and everything, or is that just so that you don't so it doesn't develop into something deeper?
A fever is a little bit more intense. Like I might need it more frequently for that. So for more intense things like COVID or the flu, it might be every couple hours.
Okay.
It just kind of it's almost like your body starts to respond, but then the virus or the bacteria starts to take over, and so you got hit it again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for something like low grade, like an upper respiratory infection, it's about 3 days for me. Once every 3 days. Yeah, they're different for everybody. Everyone's different. It's like about trying to find that. I've had patients that it was like once every 10 days, and I've had other patients it's 3 times a day minimum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Have you ever read any studies on animals, like if homeopathy has been t tested and tried with animals?
Absolutely, yeah, it has. There are quite a few studies. There are studies done on farm animals. Uh, there are studies done on. There's tons of studies out there. Livestock is the big one, right? Trying
Hmm.
to avoid illness when we got these kind of big farms with tons of animals. What can we do?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they should be dosing, all the chickens, the egg-laying chickens that died over last winter, they should be dosing them all homeopathically.
Yeah.
We could have avoided all that.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I have two canaries at my house that we acquired a couple of months ago, and one of them got a little infection on his leg, and they gave me antibiotics at the vet, and it's like they're so small, the birds, they're only like 2 inches tall, and so the little syringe that they gave me was just so tiny, and like the dose was so small, and like I had to bring it up to the beak, and he would kind of like just like swallow tiniest little bit,
Little
and I was
drop.
like, I wish that there was a way that I could give him something more natural, like a homeopathy and
Yeah, I mean, you could even put a homeopathic medicine right in his water.
hmm.
Like you're getting it in the water. He's now getting it,
Right,
right? And
right,
it's safe. Typically, if it's the wrong remedy, nothing's going to happen.
right,
If it's the right remedy, he's going to get better.
right.
If it's the wrong remedy, we're influencing a part of his body to heal that doesn't need to be healed because it's
Hmm.
already healed, right?
Hmm.
So for something like that, you would look into like what is most peculiar about the skin infection. Is it bleeding? Is it red? Is it purple? Is it white? Is it scaly? Is it
Hmm.
ulcerative? Is it forming more pustules? Is it weeping? Is there yellow or white pus? Is there an odor to it? So kind of going all into that. Does it seem to be itchy? I don't know. Do birds scratch themselves if they itch? Was he itching himself? I don't know how it works with
Yeah,
birds.
they do. They do itch themselves, but usually it's wherever their feet can reach,
Okay.
or their beak.
Was,
Uh,
was he trying to scratch himself with that?
it was inflamed. It was like double the size of the other leg. So,
Oh, his whole leg was like infected, like
yeah.
a cellulitis or something.
Yeah, and there's like a little ball because their skin's so thin. He got a little cut and they're like a little ball form because I guess it reached the bone. So, but now it's healed.
It's fine.
He's gone through the dose, but yeah, I mean, I always try to do things as naturally as possible with, you know, as much from nature as I can for anything that I do for myself or people that I love and animals that I love.
Yeah, same,
Yeah,
same. Yeah, I
yeah.
feel the same way. Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder,
100%.
so are there homeopathic doctors for animals?
Yeah, there are. I've met a couple homeopathic veterinarians. I believe one of them lives in Chicago. I have a couple of them in my Rolodex. We've met at conferences together and workshops together. Um, and I've definitely consulted one of them. I had a buddy that had a dog that had cancer. And I reached out to him and asked him, had he ever treated this particular type of cancer? He's like, yeah, I have. So I put the two in touch together. Um, and 150% there are.
Nice.
And it works well. Yeah. I
Nice.
mean, animals tend to respond even quicker.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the beauty of it. I remember uh, seeing a dog one time that was going through a seizure and giving it aconitum.
Mm.
Um, and the dog never had a seizure again. One dose, and never had another seizure again. I was just kind of I based that based off of the fear that had induced the seizure. It was very peculiar. I saw the fear and then went right into this is a aconitum type of seizure.
You saw the
Um,
fear in the dog's eyes?
yeah, right
Mm.
before and it seized up, and it gritting its teeth, and I was like, oh, that's a very aconitum seizure. I think it's the first time I'd ever given an animal homeopathic, and responded immediately. It was like wagging its tail and never had another seizure again.
That's so awesome. That's
I couldn't even get it in the mouth. I had to put it in the lips because the teeth were so tight like
mm-hmm.
this that I had to just peel the nice and put it inside the gum.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it hit it, maybe 5 seconds later, the dog was wagging its tail and
Gosh, that's
acted
so
like nothing
cool.
had ever happened.
I like speaking about how it's so diluted and the essence of it, it just makes me think like, these medicines, these natural ways, they're it seems as though they're activating something that's like in our essence, it's like almost affecting the soul when it's like that little of a dose, it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, our
really
spirit.
interesting.
It's our
Yeah.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's whatever it is that gives us life.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're the way I understand it is we're awakening the force, the life force within us. It's powering up that force in order to induce its own healing, on itself. Yeah, you put that exactly the way that we currently understand how it works, and even the way it was written about. Samuel Hahnemann postulated the exact same theory in the early 1800s when he was writing about it. Considered the grandfather of homeopathic medicine. Same exact thing. Um, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head there. Which
It
is
re
what
it's
where's the
fascinating.
similarity there with Reiki? What's the similarity there? Like,
I
is
think the similarity is that it's all energy and it's all
okay,
frequency, right?
yeah,
Like those like each one of the medicines carries a frequency, just like pharmaceuticals carry a certain spirit, but it's man-made. And so it's not going to be as it just depends on what's going on, right? But like that essence of the plants and the essence of the medicine, wherever it's coming from, right? Like the an animal product or a plant product or whatnot, it's that essence is permeating somehow into that person's spirit and into their soul and and aura, it seems like, right? And the Reiki does the same thing. It's just there's no pill. It's just coming out of our hand palm chakras and out of our eyes for the more advanced practitioners and out of our the chakra in our feet.
nice.
So yeah, I feel it the most when I do like combo, which is like a
Yep.
frog medicine that is non-psychedelic. You burn the top of the skin and then put the frog secretions on there, and then when the medicine starts hitting, have felt my hands all vibrating and like all the nerves and all the energy meridians just open in my feet and in my hands. It feels like I'm like a Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z, It's like that. Like, oh, that energy flowing out, and I felt it before after Hape sometimes where that medicine I mentioned earlier. And I when it's that intense, I just put my hands on the ground and ground it down and just give it to the earth, and it immediately goes back to that
That's
equilibrium.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's another way for me to know when I'm fully open and fully functioning as a healer. It's like, okay, I'm fully open. Sometimes it'll just be like my thumb and my pointer finger, it'll just be flowing in there. Other times it'll be like the pinky. But when the whole thing is vibrating, then I know I got the faucet is fully open.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful. Just like the nasal balloon, the nasocranial. I think everybody should at least get level one Reiki because speaking of Jesus, right? Like he healed with his hands,
Yep.
and there is a Christian sect called uh, Healing Hands or Laying On of Hands, depending on which sect of Christianity it is, and they teach the same thing. They teach Reiki. They just have a different name for it.
Love that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Jesus was just here to show us what's possible as a human, and he had all these siddhis, which are like we were talking about with Sai Baba releasing a powder out of his fingers. That's a siddhi, like a superpower, and Jesus had several of them activated because he had studied under different masters. That's what I believe.
Right on. Jesus was awesome. Love
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Um, I think he's great. Rad dude.
Rad dude.
Super rad dude.
Rad dude. He's
Yeah.
here
Grateful for him.
still holding it down for the world. So
No doubt.
have you read the Second Coming of the Christ by
No,
Yogananda Paramahansa?
no, I haven't. Is it good?
It's Yogananda Paramahansa's last book.
Okay.
And it's actually two volumes like that big. They're like
Okay.
300 pages each, something like that. And it was his last book that he wrote that actually didn't get published till after he died. So his
Okay.
students had to finish typing and putting it together. So for those people that are curious about yoga and how it relates and Jesus's journey and his teachings and how it connects to yoga and yogis, that's a really powerful book to check out, The Second Coming of the Christ.
No, I love that. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah, it's a really good one. And I'm Yogananda is another one of my teachers because I lived in the town where he has his ashram, and he passed in the 50s, passed on out of his body in the 50s, but his energy is still so present there because his devotees, his students
Where's
continue
that?
on. So the meditation gardens in Encinitas.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
the ashram there, and then where different monks live, and then there's two centers: the Self-Realization Fellowship on J Street, and then like a few blocks down, another one, and then they have one in downtown San Diego. They have the Lake Shrine in LA, which is when those fires hit last year, everything burned but the ashram.
Except for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean that to me is an example of how he holds that bubble of protection and energy around a space. I mean, to me that's undeniable. Like how can what are the odds of that? A lot of people were praying for it too, which was helping a lot. But him holding that space energetically is what protected that. And I've seen it. I've seen it on different medicines. when you create a protection and an energetic bubble or an energetic field around
Yep.
a
Yep.
space. I've seen the film of it when I've changed my perspective of this reality. It was it was very clear that it works and it's real.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe
So
that.
there's a lot we don't understand as humans, even with science, as advanced as it is. And the beauty of it is that we don't have to. We can still continue to be students and come back
Continue to
to
learn.
that. I call it Earth School, what we're in right now, where
Yeah.
we're learning and refining aspects of ourselves and helping, our buddies and loved ones, helping them move right along with us, walking
That's
each other
right.
home, like Ram Dass says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
that, Peter.
well, Dr. David Kirk, it's been such an honor to have you
Peter,
on.
it's been great. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, it's been super fun.
Happy to have reconnected with you.
Me too.
Looking forward to catching up again here next time. We're both in the same physical city together.
Yes. And you're always welcome back on the podcast. So anytime
Thank
you
you.
want any new, you know,
Insights,
treatments
I'll
that you
share them.
find,
I
yeah,
got it.
any new inspirations that you have, I'd love to share that. So thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
brother.
Until
Appreciate
next
that.
time.
Okay. Take care.
Take care.